Welcome back to Market It with Atma, where we share the tips, tools, and strategies to help your business be successful. Today we have on the show Mr. Ryan Shinn. He is the marketing director for Cinemark Western Group. They are one of the largest commercial and industrial roofing companies, roofing and flooring contractors in North America. Welcome, Ryan. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Thank you for joining us today.
Happy to be here.
I'm so excited to actually just kind of talk with you about how you came to be. Did you, from a little boy, knew you were coming into marketing and you were going to be this commercial, just all in the mix with the marketing and sales and the digital aspect of the world?
No. So it started in my basic resume, if you will, started in college. And I was always involved in business management.
Okay.
I started at a low level just as an employee in the beginning of college with Sears, actually.
Wow.
And I ended up through college working in upper store and then district management with them. Mm-hmm. And I came to do several business management roles, but was always involved in marketing for different companies and stuff. And I always had a mind towards marketing, right?
Wow.
And so I've run some marketing campaigns for some larger companies, but I've been with Cinemark for 13 years now. So
Cinemark Western Group, correct?
Yeah.
Great. So how long have you've been with them for how many years, you said?
Well, this January it will be 13 years.
Wow. And can you tell us more about what you do at Cinemark Western Group and kind of how you've led your team in the past few years?
Absolutely. So in Cinemark, we build roofs and floors for large commercial industrial buildings, sometimes as small as a Starbucks, for instance. But
okay, as small as a Starbucks.
Yeah,
okay.
but we don't do houses. It's not a residential roofing and flooring contractor. So I do everything from leading telemarketing to organizations, trade shows.
Wow. So kind of give us a little breadth of what you guys' initial focus was when you came into the company and kind of how you've grown since then. Can you tell us a little more about that?
Yeah. So initially back then, there was a big focus on the telemarketing end of things.
Interesting.
And the other groups in Cinemark focus their marketing, or had focused anyways, on that. But when I was brought in, my group director, Steve, he was very clear that he didn't want someone just to solely focus on the telemarketing end of things.
Right.
He wanted someone with a more holistic approach. And I've always tried to do that. I have someone who's actually in charge of the telemarketing end of things, Aaliyah. And when you say telemarketing, you think of like people at a phone making
right.
Lots of
I think it kind of makes
that.
everybody initially cringe because there's been so much of it, right? But back then it wasn't as prominent as it's come to be, it seems like.
Yeah, and what we do for the most part, like most of my staff, the state side part of it anyways, doesn't do like call people at their dinner tables and ask if they want to change long distance services, if you want to harken back to the 90s, right? So
with house phones, right?
Yeah. The long curly cord. No, they're talking with targeted contractors in our national accounts programs. That is big, and we work within that, but they're all targeted companies and targeted roles there, and we're talking with facility managers or operations managers at their office and their desk, right?
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, it's not like making lots of phone calls.
Right. Maybe we just need to change the title of that department.
Yes, I've always wanted that. Yeah.
So you seem like kind of an innovator. You like to coach and help produce, whether it comes to marketing or kind of anything in general, right? Sure. So tell us a little bit more about you're very driven. You said before previously that you're very mission driven. Can you tell us a little bit about what your mission and values are and how that leads you?
Absolutely. So for work, I think that's something that's kind of missed in a lot of, I think companies as a whole get it, but interdepartmentally that it's easily missed. So for me, the mission is overarching. Like, why am I here?
Right.
So then the vision is how you're going to accomplish the mission in a certain time period, right? From that, programs develop, and each program has a goal, and they have to, business speak, the SMART goals, right?
Right.
So every year, like, we have our mission statement on the wall, along with our vision and our programs and our goals. And every year actually we do it in February in my department. We have a big day where we talk about how last year performed and how we met our goals or didn't. And then we talk about the vision for the upcoming year and everything that drives downstream of that. And my people really take ownership of their part of that, and I highly reward that.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And it's a good time, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like a lot more industries and companies are kind of coming into that culture more. But what really made you want to focus on those mission and values? Was it your experience in corporate America? You saw a lot of companies not focusing on the company and the culture, and how did you realign yourself to make sure that you worked and helped a company like Cinemark? Well,
it actually comes from my experience in faith, and my everything derives
your values.
From that. Yeah, it's the foundation. But I realized that, like, in any job, you have 9 hours a day that you spend with these people, and you can have that time be just like cut and dried in your box business, like clock in, do your task, and then clock out and go home.
Right.
But that kind of sucks.
I love the way you put that. To be frank with everyone, yes,
yeah,
it does.
It does. And so I would rather have my team work passionately for a goal, right? And their goal can't be just in space. It has to derive from the mission.
Right.
And so we have a mission, and each team member owns their slice of the pie there.
Interesting. And has that culture and that impact that you brought into your team, has that helped the company as a whole, you feel, in your opinion?
Well, yeah. So I looked at the numbers the other day, actually. And
nice.
So it's hard to measure what we've done before 2016 because we switched to a CRM system, and it measures everything since 2016. Our old numbers are gone.
Right. I'm sure a lot of people had that transition issue.
Sure.
CRM.
Sure, absolutely. Since 2016, my team has created opportunities that have resulted in $170 million in revenue. Now, there's other things that we just lost in space, like there's other things derived from that. So it could be in multiples of that, but provable is $170 million, which is over 80,000 per day worked for my team.
That is incredible.
So I can see that it did derive a lot of value.
Right. That is enormous. And like I said, I think a lot of companies are trying to shift to that culture. But for a lot of our viewers, they're business owners, small business, large business. And it's hard on your level to trickle that down, it seems like. So what drives you to continue to want to grow the mission and the values within your team?
So for me, it all comes down to people and relationships, really. Like I love the industry I'm in that a business is in a building. And if, like, let's say there's expensive equipment in their warehouse and the roof leaks, then their equipment can get ruined.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so they need a solution for that. And that's what my company does, and does it very well, actually. And downstream, there are people in my company who put those roofs on or do those repairs.
Right.
And they have children, and their children need shoes. They need food. They need Christmas presents.
Yes, I think they do.
And there are salespeople whose jobs depend on them meeting their goal. And where I can't sell for them, I can help them to partner their goals with business, with marketing strategies that meet those business goals. And so, keep going downstream to my team members. They have a job. They have children who need food too.
Absolutely.
So we're like, I look at it as helping those relationships all along, from the customer to the salesperson to the marketing team. Like, we're all working for good.
You're aligned, right?
Yeah.
So, and it seems like your team responds very well to however you're developing them. Obviously, your success speaks for itself. So tell me more about kind of what you've done to help. You've done small Starbucks, right? And you all the way up to huge corporations. So how do you tailor your marketing with such a wide range? How do you do that in a director of marketing role with such a large company?
Let me be clear on something. I'm not saying that we have a corporate relationship with Starbucks. I'm just throwing that out there because everybody knows the size of a Starbucks, but that size of building, right? So typically in the commercial or industrial sphere, a small building will be managed by a regional facilities director who will have a portfolio of buildings that they manage. And so typically we'll work with them, but let's say there is a small company in a building owner and they need a solution. We can do that. Now, we are positioned as a company. I tell customers sometimes we're not like a Chevy Malibu. We're more like a BMW 5 Series. Like, we focus on our quality and our ubiquity.
More than anything else. That's the front focus of the company.
So as a solution for a cash-strapped small business we're not necessarily the best solution for them.
Right. You need to know your demographic, right? You're specific within the larger commercial space, you said?
Yeah. And so you asked earlier about like advice to other entrepreneurs in that.
Absolutely.
What I would say first, we were talking about the family atmosphere and the mission driven, right? As any company should really focus on what their mission is and how they're creating that alignment between their customer and their solution, right? If they're, for instance, if they provide, if they're a plumber,
right?
They don't want to work. They don't want to convince a homeowner that they need plumbing work because that's not fun. And a customer doesn't just don't wake up in the morning and go, I want to get a plumber in.
Yeah, I want to fix my toilet today or my drainage.
Yeah, so they need to figure out that alignment. And that might be easy in the case of a plumber. You're a plumber, you need to align with people who need plumbing, right? But the next step that we were getting at was the customer value proposition.
Yes.
Why you?
What separates you?
Yeah. Why should a customer choose you? And unfortunately, a small business sometimes has a feeling of desperation, like we just need more clients, right? And so they tend to forget that because they're just scraping and trying to survive. Right.
I'm taking one step at a time every day, right?
I think that's a trap that people fall into easily. That they need to stay focused on their targeted market. They They need customers who value the value that they bring, and they need to keep that aligned.
Absolutely. But if they don't keep that in line, I feel like to your point, a lot of business owners are running in circles. You get caught in that kind of rat race. So how do you feel like delegation to your team and trust with your team is a high focus for you?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
So I am not a micromanager. I like that hurts me. Like, it pains me. I tell new people, and like when I bring them in, if I'm standing over your shoulder and micromanaging you, that's a big sign that you need to listen, because I'm going to get tired of that really fast.
Right. You have enough to think about, right? That's why you put certain people in place.
Right.
So how do you go about finding those specific personalities?
So I would say that, well, first of all, it starts with me and me knowing my strengths and weaknesses, right? I know that I often say I'm more of a forest person. I like to look at the map and chart out the course forward and look at where we are generally. But I don't want to focus on individual trees. And one can either get better at that if that's necessary, or bring in people who are really good at that. And I am very fortunate to have the best employee that I've ever had.
Wow.
Aaliyah. And she'll say, like, she likes to look at the trees, and she's really good at that. And so I can pass off kind of that detailed stuff to her, and she can handle that with aplomb. And we together, being that we have different foci,
naturally, right?
Yeah, we can bring on people that fit that role, and just knowing the culture of a successful, or the cultural mix of a successful person in that role. But that is difficult. So, like I have a whole list in my head of people I've brought in that just haven't fit.
Right. But Aaliyah, she has been with you almost since you've been with Cinemark, hasn't she?
More than that, actually.
Wow.
She's the only person on our staff that I didn't hire. She pre-exists me. She just had her 15-year anniversary.
Congratulations, Aaliyah. Yeah. Great shout out on that. So you really are proud of the team that you've kind of put together and what you do each and every day. So I want to circle back to a little bit. We kind of brushed over it. What does separate Cinemark from the rest?
Well, to do the elevator pitch of it,
right?
So Cinemark, first of all, generally a roofing contractor in North America is going to, let's say they give a 20-year warranty on a roof, right? That's typically between 1 and 3 years installation. The rest of the warranty is you have to go to the manufacturer of the product.
Okay.
Cinemark, if we give a 20-year warranty, it's a single sourced warranty. So if it leaks in year 19, call us.
Oh, wow.
And we will not send you back to Versaco or GAF or whoever. We'll handle it ourselves. We have a completely separate division that handles that warranty service.
Wow. So it's more a white glove service, very, very specific to each and every customer, it seems like.
So that's one thing. The other thing is our size, right? So we're all across North America, in Canada. We have I think we're at 110-ish offices in North America right now.
My goodness.
And they're not franchises. We don't buy up smaller companies. It's all organic growth, and they're all fully trained Cinemark employees, and with crews in the different offices. So we're not going to fly somebody out from Florida to look at your roof in a different market, right? You get the best of both worlds. You get the local team who lives and works and raises their kids right there in the community. And you also get the size and scope of a giant corporation.
Wow,
right?
the quality of that big corporation.
So generally in North America, a roofer is what I call 2 chucks and a truck, right? They've got a ladder. They have some rules of of thermoplastic polyolefin, TPO. And so they're probably going to be out of business in 2 years. I mean, statistically. And so they like that dominates the North American market, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah. And so, we were founded in 1968.
Oh my goodness. So the company as a whole has been here for quite a while.
Yeah, and so if we give if it's two Chucks and a truck roofing and they give you a 20-year warranty, if they're not around in 20 years, it doesn't matter anyways, right?
Right.
So a customer will know that we're going to be around in 20 years, and also a customer that has an outlet in Michigan and Florida and California has one company they can call with an office near all of those places.
Wow. So you guys make sure to embed yourselves in each and every community that you're involved with.
Yeah. Well, so I can't say that we have an office in every community at all.
Right.
But we have an office near every community.
Absolutely. So
within reach, yeah.
Do you feel that's very important for you and your company? You guys have what, 2-3 offices in each state generally?
I won't say a number because it doesn't work
focus
out
right
that way, right? You've got certain states that have vast tracts of land and not a lot of people, and you have other states that have a lot of people and not as much empty space. Like so here in Texas, we have our just on the roofing side, we have our DFW office. We have an office in San Antonio. We have an office in Houston, and we have an office in El Paso.
Wow. And your home base is here in Texas, correct?
No, our company headquarters is actually in it's near Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Okay, I got you. But you are focused on this market, but your market is a lot larger than Texas, right?
Yeah.
You focus on.
Me personally, I'm in the Western group.
Okay.
And basically, to make it really simple, if you folded the U.S. map in half, everything to the left of that is the West.
See, that is a very, very large area. For the companies that are kind of on that build, launch, growth, scale methodology is how we think, that are on that launch and scale phase, that are growing like you are and having to manage so many different areas. Your company has also obviously done it very well. Your group, your Western group has. So what system do you feel like you put in place to make that successful, and how do you manage those systems across such a wide range?
Sure. Well, internally, I look at my goal is really meeting with on the phone or on the internet or even in person, meeting with all the sales staff through that entire territory and helping them to meet their business goals by implementing sound marketing strategies. I was listening recently to there's a marketing guru out of the UK. His name is Rory Sutherland.
Yeah.
And he was answering marketing questions from the internet on this video. And he said the biggest misconception in marketing is that marketing is a cost. It's not. Marketing is a way of avoiding an opportunity cost.
What's an opportunity cost in your definition?
So look at it this way. If you're let's take away Centimark out of the equation. Let's say you're a small single person plumbing outfit.
Yep.
And you'll do $50,000 in revenue this year.
Okay, very small.
Yeah, but if you used sound marketing principles, maybe you would be able to clear $100,000 in revenue.
Okay.
As long as you've spent then less than $50,000 on those sound marketing processes, then you've actually you've made money in the game, right? So I would not suggest for them to invest, like don't throw money into the wind, right? But use sound marketing principles. And back to Centimark, that's what my role is in working with the sales staff across the West to to implement sound marketing principles so that they can meet their own business goals.
Right. You actually mentioned that you encourage your team to, do a TO, to take over, to take ownership, right? Yeah. So you encourage your team to TO, which is take ownership, you mentioned. How do you create a culture where people feel safe to take risks underneath you?
So first of all, you have to reward that. Mm-hmm. You have to look for that behavior, and it's not to say my team members are dogs, because they're not. But if you're teaching your dog to sit, you have to reward them doing it correctly, right?
Right, not punish them, correct?
Yeah, and so and you have to be intentional about that, right? So that's kind of step one. And my people are going to get mad that I compared them to dogs, and I'm clearly
we're not. Just on a kind of a lizard brain holistic.
Yeah, but second of all, in my head, I don't want to hire somebody who just sits and stares at their screen because I didn't tell them specifically what to do. So sometimes I'll have an employee who says, well, I just thought that this would be a good idea. And maybe sometimes I'm like, well, I don't know if I would have done that. But I'm still happy that you did something.
Right, kind of walked out of the box a little bit.
Yeah, and so they know that I value that. I also have like stupid incentives, like I have these red chips that we give out, and they can, at the end of the month, they can use that they can win some prizes, right?
Right.
So I just kind of I do that
breaks
to make it fun.
Up the monotony of coming to work for 9 hours every day. Right.
And I don't want to do too much that's stupid that belittles them, because nobody wants to be treated like that. So I really believe strongly in treating people like adults and expecting them to act that way.
Right. You even kind of mentioned you honestly get a little upset when they don't try, right?
Yeah,
in a sense.
That hurts the whole team is what it does. It's like the rising tide raises all ships, right?
I love that.
At the same time, a team member who's not pulling their weight makes everybody else work harder and in not the direction they want to go. They have to veer off to make up for that. Like think of a team of horses, and one horse is lagging, and so it's pulling the horses maybe to the left. So the other horses have to walk a little bit to the right to keep that momentum going. And it works that way in business too. If you've got some side not pulling its weight, then it kind of hurts downstream everybody. So
absolutely. So you actually kind of mentioned within that realm of what we're already talking about, that insecure leaders steal credit. Can you expand on that? You want your people to outshine you, you mentioned. Why is that, and how does that belief shape kind of leadership and legacy for you?
So
insecure leaders steal credit.
Yeah. So we have a big sales meeting. Last year it was in Phoenix.
Okay.
And I do a contest each year, the best marketer. We have a series of metrics that measures them. The best marketer gets to go to that trip along with me and all the sales staff in the West.
Okay.
And last year it was one of my employees, Kimberly.
Oh.
And she comes up and they give her an award, and the whole sales staff gives her a standing ovation.
Wow.
And I love that. And like, that's my team member, and she has done her best to take ownership and create success, right?
Right.
And it's not about me, right? Of course, I lead the team, but their success is my success. And I think an insecure person, it really stems from insecurity. Like, people want to be validated, and there's a big that sense of not measuring up, that insecurity. What's the?
You've developed the insecurity because of, it's almost of an inferiority complex. You don't want to be seen inferior.
So everybody has that sense of like, if everybody actually knew how unqualified I was, they would all laugh at me, right? I tend to not have that. I tend to veer toward the polar opposite. I'm like overconfident, and I'm like ready, fire, aim, Ryan.
So you recognize that distinction between the two.
Yeah. So a leader who steals credit often has that in the back of their mind. They're like, well, that's a great idea. So my boss is going to say, that's a great idea. Why didn't you think of that?
Right. So they have to take on.
So they take it on, right? But the real problem is all their people are like, if I come up with a good idea and I share it, then he's going to say it's his.
Have you seen that a lot?
Oh, yeah. That's endemic across many organizations, right? Mm-hmm. I think that's a dead end road, though, because what happens is you stifle innovation. You kill that sense of taking ownership. Because if you're doing the opposite, you've got the strength of your entire team coming up with ideas. And you can give success where it's due, and then they'll want to come up with more ideas.
Mm-hmm. And what's the counter to that? I truly believe that, well, I know for a fact, statistically, 97% of businesses don't make it past the first 5 years. Would you say that mentality has a lot to do with maybe why 97% of businesses don't make it?
I think it's definitely part of it. I think that statistic, you're going to have a lot of businesses start with a sole proprietorship or a few staff, right? And so that falls less of that category because there are not enough people to make a team, right?
Right.
As you grow, that comes into play more and more.
Okay, go ahead.
And so you have to start out though with that mindset of taking ownership. And I would say for a smaller outfit, networking and giving, I think for that size, people mess up the idea of networking. And I see that in marketing so much, but I think it's swinging the other way.
The pendulum's swinging. So let me touch on that because I think you kind of skimmed over something. I want people to really hear from you. The very first part of what you said, what you just mentioned, can you kind of elaborate on that in the sense that, okay, you mentioned that leaders kind of struggle with letting go of control and trusting their teams. What advice would you give leaders or entrepreneurs that are just starting out or maybe in the middle of their build phase, right? Because we have the build, launch, grow, scale methodology. When you're in that build phase, what advice would you give leaders who do struggle with control, who you do see kind of on that path of destruction with their teams? What advice would you give to help them?
So in the build phase, first of all, I would go back to mission and vision and goals. You have to have that clearly set.
First.
Look at networking because that's going to be your team, right? You want outside people to work for your vision and your mission.
Absolutely.
But that means that you need to work for their mission and their vision, and then they're going to want to help you because you're mutually helping each other.
Absolutely, mutually beneficial.
Yeah, so I was in Idaho. No, I was in Spokane, and a salesperson from Boise was with me. That's the Idaho connection.
Right.
And a potential customer walked up.
Okay.
And they started a conversation. And the customer was like, well, I don't have any commercial roofing needs right now. But as they talked, he said, what I really need is I don't remember, but let's say plumber. Like I've got plumbing issues.
Something that your company did not manage at the time, right?
And the salesperson went, I know this guy. He's not with our company at all, but he's just a client of mine, and he's a really good plumber. I trust him. Let me give you his number. And he did that, and the potential customer like wrote it down and walked away. And in my head, I'm like, wow, that was really good networking there. Because what's going to happen is that guy's going to get his plumbing situation fixed. But someday he's going to need a roof. And he's going to remember the guy who gave him that plumber's information, even though he wasn't getting business out of it.
There was no benefit, right?
And the plumber, right. Well, there is, but it's in building community and building those spider web connections, right? The plumber is going to be like, wow, you sent me a client, and he's going to remember when he needs roofing work that as well, right?
Right. You took the opportunity to be a resource with.
Yeah, but not only that, but both of them are going to tell their friends about the guy that helped them, and they're going to need roofing help at some
from
point too.
people they know, like, and trust, right?
Right.
I will definitely go with somebody that my friend that I trust has referred me to. I would say that's 97% of my business is the relationship. I can't stand the word sales or even marketing now anymore, because if you truly value a customer and they value what you have to offer, you're creating a relationship. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And so we were talking about the pendulum swing. Like,
yes.
It has been. So back to telemarketing, right? What ruined that industry is all of the incessant robocalls. I don't know about you, but I don't answer my phone anymore if I don't recognize
You
them.
actually called me this morning, and I didn't have you saved, and I did not answer that number. Perfect
I was offering
example.
a Starbucks, which
You
is
were.
networking.
Is that not insane that our culture is like that now?
So, but the same thing has happened with, I don't know about you on this also, but I get constant emails in my inbox. Do you have a quick 15 minutes for me to tell you about the thing I want to sell you? And the answer is no, because I have a job to do, right?
Exactly.
But it, like, the pendulum has swung or is swinging back maybe in a lot of businesses realizing that they can't do business that way. The way to get into somebody's inbox is to offer them value, and then they will respond nicely and earn your right to talk about that thing you want to sell to them.
Right. Kind of our interaction. We interacted through LinkedIn, right?
Yeah.
My CEO and I are both on LinkedIn, kind of reaching out to our business owners that we really feel can add value to our show, right? I was solving not a problem, but a need that you feel like would benefit you at the end of the day, right? It's kind of touching on what you just said, is you have to either solve a problem or benefit, because you get so many emails every day. So how has that migration with being in marketing and sales, by the way, two different things I would like to make very clear for some of our business owners, very, very different. In your experience through your marketing director position here at Cinemark, as AI tends to kind of come into play, we used to do telemarketing, right? And then everybody got sick of the robocalls at dinner, like you mentioned. And now AI is coming into play, which is why we have all the emails coming into our inbox. How do you keep up with the times when it comes to marketing? How do you know how to maneuver out of telemarketing and into automation?
Yeah. So, and like, a lot is being said about AI, right? And you've got your people who are on the end of, like, it's going to solve all our problems. We're going to be in some Star Trek utopia where nobody has to work ever.
Right.
And then there's the other side. People like, I'm a Luddite. I don't want AI is going to kill us all. We're going to end up in Terminator land.
And
right?
what's your opinion?
I like to say I'm agnostic about it. I don't, like, my opinion is not going to affect whether AI happens or not. I'm not Elon Musk or one of those thought leaders on the subject, right? What I do know is that AI is.
It's here.
My success as a marketer will be determined in the near future, even by my ability to navigate and use this tool to the best of my abilities. So to your audience, and like what'd you say, the build in the build phase.
Launch, grow,
launch,
scale.
grow. So in the build, launch, and even grow and scale, actually all of it, phase, if you're a small business, you can use AI tools to achieve things that a year ago, 5 years ago, wasn't even possible within the year.
Yep, took you a whole 12 months to complete, right?
Right. So like I'm a Photoshop guy. I've years back I won Photoshop contests and like I was really into it. But back then, now Photoshop has an AI feature. It's one of the first to do like AI image generation things in Photoshop. So I played around with it, and because not to have fun, although it was fun.
You enjoyed it.
To figure out what it would do as a tool. And I produced a few things, and I was talking at work actually with somebody on my team, and I said, this is doing better what used to take me a week to do on my own in Photoshop. And AI is like that across the board. So now where it definitely will be detrimental is it will do to our inboxes, it already has done to our inboxes what the robocalls did to our cell phones.
Yep.
So effective communication is going to be more human. Yeah, more like sitting in front of people.
Absolutely.
More analog and less digital, if you will.
The personal one-on-one interaction?
Yeah, I'm not actually saying don't use digital means. I'm saying that like what analog is to digital, the fire off a quick generic email is to a personal email with real connection, really sitting in front of somebody, etc. Like how when you open letters from the mail, like a lot of places are using that handwriting font.
Yes.
And you kind of run your fingers over it to feel if it's actual writing.
You can tell, yeah.
But if you actually get a handwritten letter, you pay attention to that more, which is why they're using that font, right?
So how do you integrate that into your processes at Cinemark with your team? When AI, are you utilizing it within your company for that marketing and that advertising, or do you feel like you kind of produce more quality interactions and that's why you've grown as well? So I can't, it's kind of proprietary how we're using AI, Absolutely.
But we are. However, a good example in a conversation I was having just this week and last week, we have developed a specific marketing role in the regional offices in person. And they're actually sending off snail mail introductory packets. And we're calling behind that just to sit down.
Right, those touch points.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's actually having a real effect. And I've noticed when we hand deliver just an introductory packet, if there's like a little handwritten note on the front cover, it gets a lot more play than just, something. I have an option for them to put in a company logo of the company that they're delivering it to. And I'm like, I don't personally advocate doing that because they know what company they're with. It's not impressive.
Right. It's that
what is impressive is
touch.
the handwriting. Yeah.
Yes. Putting that, I think to your point, people are valuing that with AI and our emails just blowing up. If I get a letter or a thank you card even that's handwritten, I will place it on my wall because I know that person took that extra step. that quality and took the extra focus in me, and that does create value. So now I wonder how, and I asked different business owners this and different C-suite executives like yourself, how it's affected you. Are we using it as a crutch, or are we using it as a benefit to our company as a whole? Because I feel like some small business owners maybe use it as a way to educate themselves versus utilizing their process with the AI to help grow themselves.
So you can and should use AI tools for marketing, number one.
Okay.
The more boilerplate, the more spammy, the worse. That personal interaction is always very key. But don't miss the fact that there are great, amazing tools to get you in front of the customer. A good example of that in conversations that I've had, I'll have people say, well, we want to appear really high on a Google search result, right?
Yeah, those are my favorite.
And yeah, where are we on Google?
Yes, that's the first question, but it is important.
So the Google result might be how they find you to have that conversation in the first place. And if they don't find you, it's like the old AAA plumbing, because they wanted to appear earlier
alphabetical
in
order,
the yellow pages, right? So and of course it doesn't work that way anymore. But so if you see an AAA plumber, you know they've been around a long time, or they're really, really behind the curve.
Which can add a little credit, guys.
I will say you can't have that personal interaction, that analog interaction, if you will, unless they find you in the first place. And AI is a great tool to get you visible.
Right. And then to deliver what you have.
Yeah.
So it's kind of that bridge with the cold calling and the telemarketing. You're really the brand awareness, letting them know that you're there, having that personal interaction is really where you grow.
Yeah.
In your opinion.
Yeah, it is. It is. Now I would say, so our cold calling, we actually do cold call telemarketing, have done cold call telemarketing out of the Philippines. Oh. And I just, that recently, my in-year revenue that I measured from that still reached $1 million. So that's not dead.
It's not.
But if you're spending, and by the way, for anybody who's asking, that was a bolt-on. It wasn't like firing people stateside to outsource that. It didn't work that way. I wouldn't have done that.
Okay.
But like, if you're paying a lot of money, you're throwing money into the wind. That's why I'm not hiring stateside people to do that work. I kind of can't anyways. Like, that really dried up. It's kind of casualty of the post-COVID world, really. Right,
because, you automate and you really get more comfortable with being able to handle things and processes more analog.
Yeah, well, analog. Yeah, and like what the response to COVID really like messed up the working world a lot.
You know, of all the guests that I've interviewed that either are small business owners or have been in business for 30 years plus and are huge executives. So I feel like COVID either benefited or hurt businesses, right? So I see a lot of small business entrepreneurs who really were able to develop themselves out of being forced to go through the COVID epidemic. And then some that really, really struggled because they were not on the forefront of the digital automation. I feel like it's pushed more, marketing has pushed more digital because of COVID, which can be good and bad. How do you think it's affecting the large, like businesses like yours, focusing on commercial industries? How did COVID affect you at Cinemark?
Sure. So it required us to do a whole lot of interactions that were not face-to-face, right? Like drones and drone scans and things like that. Satellite scans became much more in use during COVID. Also, everybody wanted, like in the roofing industry, people pay attention to safety a lot because it's a really dangerous industry, actually, and there can be big lawsuits. However, there was an add-on during the COVID age of like, we don't just want you to be safe, we want you to be disease safe, right? But to kind of make the jump from and it was like we did well over the COVID years, and there were kind of ancillary issues that COVID caused, like the supply chain problem.
Of course, in your industry.
We as a company managed that really well, and at the same time, not necessarily because of COVID, but we saw rampant inflation happening all across the board, but definitely in our industry, and we managed that really well too. I would say one of the things that we talked about that kind of has to do with this issue. The other day we had a conversation and we talked about obstacles, right? So COVID was, just like AI is, there's nothing I could do about COVID. There's nothing I can do about AI. It does not care about my opinion of how it's going to work out.
That's right.
And COVID didn't either.
Which is a huge shock to everyone.
Yeah, and it's an obstacle.
Yes.
But nobody cares about our obstacles. They care about how we failed to overcome our obstacles, and it becomes then a morality play, a lesson, or they care about how we overcame that obstacle. So sometimes you have to use a really creative solution. Sometimes it's just muscling up and powering through.
What was your process? You obviously did well through the pandemic. So what do you think attributed to that success or sustainability through that period?
So are you asking the question about Centimark or my role at Centimark?
Your role at Centimark completely, whether you were proactive, whether you pivoted quickly, or whether or not because of the intention that you had initially with your team and the culture, if that really helped you power through.
So the whole start of COVID was really weird for me because I was in a trade show in Hawaii when the worldwide lockdown really started.
Wow.
And so I flew back, and it was just surreal because I flew, like, Las Vegas is the #1 destination out of Honolulu. And so on my plane flying back to Vegas from Hawaii, there were like 3 people on my flight, and I got into Vegas and the baggage claims weren't working. It was a ghost town.
Oh, I bet that was creepy.
And when I got back to DFW, I had one day to make, because Texas was locking down the next day.
Quickly, yes.
And I had one day to make everybody able to work from home who never had. Like, I never had work from home.
Everyone in IT at every company was screaming.
And so, but we did so well. We made actual bound manuals for my staff. The cables were marked like each end of each cable was marked with a different letter or number, and it corresponded to the diagrams on the manual. We worked really hard because the leadership staff of my department, like myself and Aaliyah at the time, we said nothing else exists today. This is the only thing we're going to do. And we boxed them all up with employees' names on each box, right? And it worked so well. We had to manage, like, there was no time clock anymore because people were working from home. But the point was, 'cause it's a fun story to tell, like how we overcame that challenge. And I'm very proud to say that in the heart of COVID, where we were all working from home, I didn't lose a single employee, and I didn't have a single employee who left Centimark.
That is very impressive.
And kept working.
As a company as a whole, and as you as a leader within your company, it says a lot. about the quality and care that you have internally and for the clientele. So through COVID with commercial real estate and commercial real estate contracting and the shipment issues, you guys sustained all of that, the company as a whole. So when coming out of that, what did you learn as a marketing director coming out of that pivot, change, fire drill? What did you learn?
So what we were talking about overcoming challenges, I really became focused on that. So COVID was a big challenge, right? My job was not to say, woe is me, and rock back and forth in a fetal position. My job was to make wins happen in spite of. And it was a hard time. All my staff, there was no talking to facility managers at their offices because the facility manager wasn't working in an office anymore, right?
It's the fear of the unknown.
Yeah. So, and everybody's kind of scrambling. You eventually had people saying the new normal, right?
Yep.
And
because it was,
but there wasn't a new normal yet. It was just stay afloat and manage.
Yes.
But so that's a lesson that I did as a company. I think one of our big lessons that we learned, but we did well, was to try and think ahead of the problem. So when I personally was contacted by other roofers that I knew just in my personal life who were saying, do you guys have material? Because I can't get material. And I couldn't answer that question. I don't work in operations.
Right.
But we did. We had whole warehouses that we had pre-staged. So we weathered that material shortage storm. And we got certain roofing jobs just because other people couldn't do it.
Right. They couldn't supply the material to do it. So you sourced to those smaller.
Yeah. So I'm really proud of the marketing department and my staff just being really resilient and overcoming our challenges, and being willing to change what the message is kind of in the midst of it. I'm proud of our company in doing the same. And really, there's really smart people who thought ahead of problems and of obstacles, of challenges, and planned accordingly. And so you have to get really smart in times like that.
I can just feel the pride exuding from you when you talk about how that worked as a company as a whole. It's great that your company aligns with your values. It's very important, especially now that we're more aware of our emotions and feelings, and the C-suite executives are as well. So tell me about your greatest hope. You mentioned what your greatest hope is. Can you tell our other business owners what your hope is and what your insight is on relationship, mentorship, and what shapes your mission and vision, your hope?
So personally, it's not driven from a fear. It's actually driven from the opposite. But someday, I heard a comedian talk about if you're looking at a gravestone, you have the date of birth and the date of death, and you live your entire life in the dash between them.
Ooh.
And it sounds morbid, right? But as you think about it, it's actually really poignant. We're all gonna die. We're flesh.
Yep.
And I don't have any illusions of that, nor morbidity about it. It just is what it is. Right. And so, but I want to create things that will leave a legacy beyond the dash.
Okay.
And I want the world to be a better place because I was in it.
Do you think you're accomplishing that goal?
That drives me every day. It drives everything I do. I think that there are things that I have invested my life in that will have eternal results, and I really live my life with that passion, with that ethos. And I'm from a work perspective, I'm really proud of the people that I have invested in, because that team, someday after me, their children are going to have been affected by not just the job, but how I spoke into their lives. I have a kind of a joke that I say so in my office, I have a little table, like a little conference table in my personal office. And every single employee, including myself, have cried at that table at some point. Not because I was screaming at them or saying mean things. It's because they've sat there and said, I'm just really dealing with this in my life right now.
You touch them on a deeper level.
Because they know they have the space to do that. That I'm not the counselor in chief, but they know that I care for them as people, not just functionaries. And so that is part of that leaving a legacy, right? And also the sales staff at my company know that I'm not just in it for meeting their sales goal, that I really want them to succeed in their role. So last year, for instance, I had a black belt test in martial art that I practice. And one of my sales staff from Houston came up and he sat and watched that and cheered me on for 9.5 hours.
Wow.
That, I was talking to him yesterday, actually, and I would say, someday when I'm on my deathbed, I will remember that as one of the top 10, because he didn't have to do that. There's no benefit to him. He's not going to get more sales, more marketing time out of me. He did that because he cared about me. And he cares about me partly because he knows that I care about him. And that means a lot. Those relationships that have been built mean a lot, and they mean legacy. They mean that what you're doing has a value that exists beyond just the little
bubble you're in today, right? Yeah. And that's so wonderful. So thank you for sharing that, because I would ask everyone who's listening or has interacted with us to really sit there and take a thought about the best moment, the most appreciative moment you feel. And it in my mind, as you were saying that, the quality and people showing up or driving 3 hours to be with me at a certain event, even if it was pointless, it stays with you. And focusing on those people, I feel like it really is a success for everyone, whether you're working in a company or you own a company. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Life would be, Mother Teresa once said, if it's hard to get everybody to want to hug, but if half the world was wanting to hug the other half the world, then everybody would be getting a hug. And she was right. In whatever role you're in, if you just try and make the world a little bit better of a place because you were in it, then what you're building will outlast you. And as you said, your little bubble.
Right. It's like sand in a jar, right? You keep filling it. You have to. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think some of the things you've learned in your career journey, not just with Cinemark, are really insightful for some of our business owners and our executives that are listening to the show, because culture is important. And I truly feel like you've paved the way for Cinemark to just be more successful each and every day. Can you tell us how anyone that's listening can learn more about what all services you offer or what the company does?
Of course.
Where can they reach you? Do you have socials?
So the company has all of that, and everybody knows how to Google, but we're not Cinemark. We're not a movie company. We're
to be clear,
CENTIMARK.com is our website.
Okay.
That's where they can go and they can find access to what we do, how we do it, et cetera, et cetera. If they want to, they want to connect with me personally, my email is ryan.shinn@centimark.com. And they can find me there.
And I'll add those links to the bottom of the description on this.
And I'm happy to help them with any question they have, because I want to make them successful too. Now, I do have to be a little bit clear in like, I'm not going to spend 8 hours of my work day helping somebody, but if I can help somebody, I'm definitely willing to talk with them on my own time or however it works to
see if you can mutually benefit each other, right?
For sure.
Whatever industry you're in. I've been in a lot of different industries, from government to sales, marketing. I've been in a plumbing industry as well. And those little nuggets you pick up along the way, you just share them with everyone else. Yeah. Well, thank you. Is there anything else that you'd like our audience to know before we end the show today?
I would say that if you're listening, I'm very happy that you're here, and I hope you learned something from me, from Story, and from this podcast. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ryan. And to all of our listeners out there, we'll see you next time on Market It with Atma.
Bye.